this Joe Rogan video that's been going viral. Kyle has been goodly enough to give us credit as being one of the first people in the political media analyst scene to really hone in on the fact that Joe Rogan was plotting and executing a Christian pivot. This is where it seems to have all been, targeted at. This seems to be the culmination of all of that. And he's talking about AI. Anything you want to add before we play this and react with the audience, Gavin?
I mean, just a new low, I suppose, for Joe Rogan, who, yeah, much like Tucker Carlson, has increasingly been dabbling in religious bullshit, Christian bullshit, angels, demons, everything in between. So super fucking unserious, obviously. But yeah, this is definitely a new low for Mr. Joe Rogan. Spitting a theory here that I've not really thought much of myself, but maybe he's onto something. Maybe he's onto something. Let's take a look.
If Jesus does return, even if Jesus was a physical person in the past, you don't think that he could return as artificial intelligence?
Oh my God.
Artificial intelligence could absolutely return as Jesus. Not just return as Jesus, but return as Jesus with all the powers of Jesus. Like
With
all the magic tricks, all the ability to bring people back from the dead, walk on water.
He sounds like a fucking Sith Lord right there, specifically with the red background and the black hoodie on. Like he's talking about, like, maybe I can bring Padme back from the dead. With these dark secrets. Who knows what'll happen? But also, it's just so dumb because it's literally called artificial intelligence. It's artificial. That's what I need more people to understand about this fucking technology. It's not Jesus. It's not capable of being the new Jesus. It can't think for itself. It's a fucking facsimile of the human mind, but it's not actually intelligent. It's artificially intelligent. So even if God returned via artificial intelligence, it would be some human being programming it to say that or to do that, or it would be malfunctioning. Like, it's not actually fucking Jesus any more so than Grok was actually Mecha Hitler when it briefly, decided to call itself that.
We were sharing a brain wavelength. I was thinking Mecha Hitler Grok right as you went to that.
Yeah. It's like that wasn't real. That was just fake bullshit, either a malfunction or Elon just trolling by programming his dumbass fucking AI. But again, it's AI. It's artificial intelligence.
Yeah, and I'm old enough to remember when one of Rogan's favorite bits to go back to was this thing called, he would say, praise Odin. That was a joke because I think one of the Norse gods, somebody in Greek mythology, was called Odin, and he would do this kind of cringy, poorly thought out comedy bit where he would talk, well, if you guys are going to say praise God, how come it's not praise Odin? People have actually been saying Odin since long before linguistically you could find traces to the word God as we would say it in English. Praise Odin. That's what I'm going to say. And then he got all of his clowns on the internet to be like, yeah, praise Odin. I'm going to make merch that says praise Odin. That's so cool. And it was a big mockery of organized religion. It was a huge mockery of Christianity, which was a recurring element of Joe Rogan's early podcasting and comedic style. He loved to, ruthlessly roast and mock and malign organized religion. In particular, he would talk about how he was much more interested in the spirit realm, right? This is a guy that was an early advocate for DMT, dimethyltryptamine, which is a super potent psychedelic drug. People know it mostly from ayahuasca, but ayahuasca is like 8 hours. If you take DMT, it's like 12 minutes. People say it's 12 minutes that feels like 12 years. That's the kind of stuff that Joe Rogan was into, and he was into the, what I would consider more woo-woo kind of spirituality. Now that he's gone hook, line, and sinker into parroting the language of organized religion, it comes across as so insincere to me. It sounds like he's performing. Like, I'm like, the real Joe Rogan doesn't believe this.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And like we've talked about with Russell Brand too, it is super disappointing to see someone who back in their heyday, made such great content, ridiculing organized religion and making fun of it. Like, I guess it was kind of cringy, but he was still right about the praise Odin thing. Like, there was substance behind that joke, even if it was, kind of an artifact from that anti-theist era of the internet or whatever. Like, he still was on point. I remember an epic rant Joe Rogan went on about how fucked up circumcision is and how it's just like cutting off baby dicks or whatever. He's like, how the fuck are you going to defend cutting off baby dicks in the name of the sky god or sky daddy? Just this epic fucking rant he went on, shit like that. And now, yeah, he's literally saying that the Jesus could return. It's like, damn, bro. Aging has really done a number on you. because you must be getting to that point where you're starting to fear God or fear death a little bit, and you're looking for answers.
I think that's a big selling point that they're trying to lean into for AI. I think one of the things that's taken over, that lane of YouTube that we would call like Austin sphere adjacent is this fear of mortality, this idea of being young forever. Obviously, there's the Brian Johnson blueprint, don't die guy. But all of these guys, they've been really into maintaining their youth. Joe Rogan's on like testosterone replacement therapy. He's on steroids. He's on all kinds of stuff, right? He'll even talk about it. He'll be like, before my generation, there were no 55-year-old jacked guys, right? Because you couldn't get enough testosterone into your body. This is all gender affirming care. It's all like battling aging, the kind of stuff that they would mock in another context. They're very, very invested in. And when I was curious about the reaction to this, I went and just, reverse searched the video on Twitter so I could get an idea of like, what are the people who actually think this is cool and base saying about this? And it goes back to the fear of mortality. People are talking about how this is the same kind of science that in just 10 years is going to be able to resurrect people from the dead with their cell tissue. And they're going to be able to, get into their memories and recreate these people, which is a total lie. It's a farce. It's a pipe dream. It is, beyond farcical to ever imagine that AI would bring back the dead. As Gavin pointed out eloquently, it would be artificial. It would be a cheap facsimile, even if it were to pretend to be doing that. But it does all kind of go back to this root issue of like, people are afraid of their own mortality. And as Joe Rogan has to confront his aging, he becomes the perfect guy to launder the reputation of AI, which is really unpopular.
Yep, 100%. And honestly, a lot of the subject matters that Rogan has dabbled in could be interpreted as like substitutes for religion or substitutes for God. We've talked a little bit about how the UFO hypothesis is, in a sense, a sort of a religious hypothesis. This notion that, there's these things in the sky that are watching us. They know about us, but we don't really understand them. And guess what? They're actually probably looking out for us. Well, guess what that sounds like? God. That sounds like religion. It sounds like you have faith and you believe in something that's above you, that's looking out for you, and that's potentially going to stop the apocalypse when we decide to set that into action with nuclear war, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I'm someone that also thinks there's a pretty significant amount of evidence for UFOs. I am a believer myself, but I'll admit that it's a belief. You know what I mean? In the same way, I think people have also talked about how the simulation theory is ultimately just another interpretation of religion too, because again, it implies that there's a higher power that's constructed all of our reality in a way that we don't understand. So that's a version of religion, that's a version of God, and now we have AI, which he's also basically talking about as if it's like a new version or a new kind of interpretation of religion. This thing is going to save us, this thing is smarter than us, this thing is looking out for us. So yeah, it's very interesting to view it through those lenses.
Yeah, it's both scary and also, I guess, it makes sense in another perverse way because of the proclivities of the human mind, right? The fact that it is rational to fear death and it is rational to resort to a higher power, but this would be one with a lot more tangible destructive effects even than the religions that have been caused for a lot of fucking destruction in their own right.
Levitation, water into wine.
If you combine
right
Tesla's Optimus robot and the best foundational artificial intelligence model or whatever,
it reads your mind and it loves you and it wants you, and it doesn't care if you kill it because it's going to just go be with God again.
Doesn't that seem like the Antichrist to you? Doesn't that seem like the diametric opposite to maybe our latent human powers that can, like the Brimer Rescue and Randall Carlson thing? If like you go deep with them, they're like, we don't think Jesus died, we think he went through a mystery ritual and then he had all these amazing powers in the book of Acts. Is there something latently magical inside of us that the Silicon Valley people, they're obsessed with transhumanism and like, if you can't beat them, join them, the whole Nick Bostrom Elon thing.
Yeah.
Where maybe we're more magical than we think. Like that sounds dystopian to me, to be honest.
Now I've just lost the plot. What does he mean more magical? Like, what the fuck is that even a reference to? We're more magical than we thought. Like, because God, because religion. Like, I just don't really understand what that even fucking means. Obviously, the transhumanist thing is interesting, but I don't really know what it has to do with magic.
Yeah, and here's a little bit more of that because that clip cut off at a weird point. And yeah, that guy just seemed like word salad machine. I don't think he actually knew what he was trying to articulate.
It makes sense that his fucking set is supposed to look like Star Wars in the background. It's like, oh, look, let me fucking make it look like I'm on a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Jesus was born out of a virgin mother.
Hmm.
What's more virgin than a computer? If Jesus does return, even if Jesus was a physical person,
This
in the
time Jesus is gonna get born out of Nick Fuentes' asshole, a true virgin of our times.
In what way is a computer virginal, right? Because when you think of virginal, at least like as an archetype or as
It's
like,
never been fucked.
I guess it's never been fucked, but
That's what I think of when I think of virginal.
but it's also like you think of like delicate, you think of like disturbed by, the broader pictures. You think of like naivete, you think of, purity. I don't think of any of those things when I associate, like, I don't associate any of those like motifs that you would associate with the virginal character with the computer at all. But I guess you're right in the sense that bare bones, it hasn't been fucked.
unless your r/boyfriend is AI, then your computer might have gotten fucked. Because it seems like that's actually increasingly common, right? I've seen a ton of posts on social media. Though I hate to admit it because it is really sad, but I do like to lurk on those subreddits and watch people fucking crying when the AI model gets tweaked, and then they're like, "My boyfriend is dead. My partner died," because like ChatGPT like updated their model or whatever, and they can't talk to the same exact version of the AI boyfriend that they created. So they literally are like, "He's dead." It's like they're acting like they're in fucking like in mourning or something.
They're more devastated than Erica Kirk, probably.
Literally, no, I'm not even kidding. You'll see way more authentic displays of grief on these subreddits every time the AI model gets tweaked than Erica Kirk has ever fucking shown for her actual fucking flesh and blood husband. But it is really fucking dystopian. And now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, it's like actually a lot of these computers technically aren't virginal anymore because people are hooking up these AIs to their like dildos or whatever fucking degenerate stuff they use to get off.
Apparently, I found this out recently. Apparently, in Missouri, you have to put in your driver's license to look at porn now. So Lisa was telling me that they covered it at KCUR. You literally have to put in your like driver's license number so the government can track you and be like, this person's watching porn, which obviously nobody's gonna fucking do.
Zach's like, so Lisa told me about that. I would have no idea. No, I actually was reading an article about.
Yeah,
like,
they covered it.
Apparently, Pornhub is no longer operating in Missouri as a result of that.
Oh, interesting.
Like they were like, "Fuck you!" Like we're not gonna force every one of our users to give us their personal information. So we're just no longer going to operate in the state of Missouri. So I don't know if like every other porn site out there is going to do the same thing, but it is kind of crazy. I guess get a VPN if you're a Missouri gooner.
Yeah, it's crazy too, because from what I understand about Pornhub, it's like the only porn site. Like they've bought up all of the other ones. So even if you were like watching something that you think is a different porn site, like for the most part, they're all owned by that same parent company. So if that parent company decides to pull out of Missouri, it's not like, I don't even fucking know like what the other, like MILF blowjob machine.com, like it's probably owned by the Pornhub people as well.
Yeah. I feel like that's the case with all the serious porn websites, and then all the like shady ones that will give your computer a virus or whatever. Like those ones probably aren't under the Pornhub umbrella, but all the like real serious brands in the business I think are.
Interesting. Yeah. And obviously it's not the end of the world. Like you probably still find porn on Reddit and shit, so I don't really know what the whole point of any of this is. It's like everybody has a Reddit account, and I guarantee you they didn't ban porn on Reddit. Otherwise I would have read about it. You know what I mean? And so you can still be like, mommy milkers subreddit. Like, here you go. Have at it. I don't know, whatever
that one's
freaks
my favorite,
are into.
The mommy milkers. That's a great one.
It's just a bunch of pictures of Ben Shapiro's sister,
Oh God, I forgot about that. But yeah, no, I mean, obviously I am 100% against banning porn. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
A moral what do you call it? A moral,
like just nanny state bullshit.
yeah,
basically.
nanny state bullshit. A moral panic is the
Moral
word I
panic,
was
there we
looking
go.
for. That being said, the old soul in me does kind of like the idea of having to go buy a dirty magazine to beat off to. I'm like, you know what? Maybe kids these days should have to, go into their uncle's closet and like find a Playboy magazine. Like it is so easy now, to just pull up the porn And it's like I do kind of, not that I was even really alive for that era, but I do kind of miss that era where it was like there's like 3 magazines and you're going to be lucky if you fucking get one of those motherfuckers. You're going to treasure it. You're going to keep it in your closet for a decade. Like that shit is, I do kind of have like, I do kind of romanticize that era.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we still have an old porno theater in Kansas City. We have to be one of the last cities. And I think it's like a hub for, members of the LGBTQ community now. So it's not like, you have just like tons of people frequenting it, but it does still show movies. And it is still there. It's on Truist. If anybody wants to check it out, it's called The Strand. I've driven past it probably 1,000 times, never been inside. I'd be curious if anybody wants to go and report back. But I was like, there was a time where I was working on a bit where I was like that, there's a direct correlation between when people stopped watching porn in public together in movie theaters and the rise of the mass shooter, right? 1999, 2000, that was when you started to be able to get porn online real easily. And that's also when you see the rise in mass shooters. Now, I'm not a scientist. I'm not here to analyze that data. I'm just telling you it's a straight line up. And you know what I mean? And not that it's porn's fault or anything like that, but it is kind of funny. And I think the isolation element and the fact that you can continue to have all of these sexual experiences with yourself in the computer over and over again, with the AI chatbot thing, making it more emotional, all of these different things. I think it's a recipe for a universe of Travis Bickles.
Yeah. Although Travis Bickle literally existed in the time period where you could watch porn in the movie theater.
That's true.
That's like a famous scene in that movie.
That's true. That's true.
Maybe,
yeah.
I
But you know what I
saying,
mean, though. I genuinely think that like I was talking to our homie Ty about this the other day. Like the character of Travis Bickle could just be pulled out of that movie today and made a modern incel.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think I was saying something like that the other day.
Oh, maybe it was you and not Ty. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you could. That movie's just like it's basically, still just as relevant as ever. But either way, I mean, yeah, I definitely think that it's interesting. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it is completely ridiculous to infringe on people's right to fucking do what they want on the internet, including look at consenting adults 100%. Having sex. Like, obviously, there's a reason the unconsensual stuff is blocked, obviously. But as long as it's fucking consenting adults, it's a free country, motherfucker. I don't really see what the issue is.
Yeah, I completely agree. And we covered a story, what was it, a couple of years ago? Or it was like that parent company of Pornhub did like a massive crackdown where they banned a bunch of people and they scrubbed a bunch of content, which is good, right? If you're going to be a above board business, like fuck you if you're trying to make money off of people who are human trafficked. Or
a bunch of independent content creators did get swept up in that, though, that like got basically demonetized. It was kind of like adpocalypse for porno, like porno or porn people, whatever you want to call them, sex workers, so a bunch of people did get swept up in that. That's why there was outrage. But I agree that, like, as far as the shady shit, getting that out of there.
Yeah, and that would be like a failure of, Pornhub or whatever the hell their parent company is. I think they're based in Canada, but to implement that policy, rigorously and, with, I guess, transparency, and make sure that obviously the people that you don't want on that platform aren't on there. And then the people who are just harmless sex workers who are trying to make a living, obviously you don't want to, for lack of a better word, fuck them over anyway.
Yeah. Either way, I don't even know how we started talking about porn so much, because we started out talking about AI and Joe Rogan.
But I think it's just a natural segue, right? When you're thinking about all these people who have like an AI girlfriend, like how do you think they're connecting to that AI girlfriend? It's like, oh, let's watch this crazy shit together, babe. Anyway.
Yeah. And like I said, they're like, I mean, a bunch of these fucking gooners are like hoping for, or they're like super excited for the days when, these robots literally will be able to fuck them. Like they'll be able to upload the consciousness of the AI boyfriend into a humanoid robot, and then, either fuck it or get fucked by it.
I just can't get behind fucking a robot. I can't. We've talked about how the fleshlight thing never, like, it grosses me out. I just cannot get behind this idea of using like fucking a machine, fucking a device.
I mean, women already fuck machines. Have you ever seen those videos of like the dick when on the pole that's like connected to the machine that's like fucking the woman? Like, it's already happening. It would the only innovation is like adding your AI model into it, so it can like talk to you and like actually interact with you in a more personal way. So it's not just like a cold piece of machinery. But I mean, obviously, yeah, I think that if you're that into fucking, gooning and stuff, like it's not something I'm that obsessed with. But
Yeah, I guess I'm not judging anybody. Like people will be in the chat, stop kink shaming. I'm not kink shaming. I'm just like I do think that there's a little bit of I don't know, something to explore there.
Yup, 100%. I mean, the AI thing to me just takes it over the top because it's like, you know, at least a dildo or a fleshlight or whatever, like you know what it is. It's a fucking sex toy.
Yeah.
It's not literally pretending to be. I guess it kind of is pretending to be human, but like it's still impossible to deny at the end of the day that it's like a piece of fucking silicone. It's a inanimate object, right? When you're literally replacing human connection with like a fucking, you know, technological facsimile, that does start to it just feels like a Black Mirror episode or some shit, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And again, I'm not taking a shot at dildos per se, but I do think fleshlights are kind of weird. I don't know. I've just never really been into that kind of a world. Like
Zach has to remind us every episode what you got to hide, Zach.
Right? Yeah.
What's your real feeling on fleshlights?
It's not every episode. It's come up a few times.
I'm just kidding.
I do think you have to wash that shit. Like that's the thing. It's like you fucking.
To be fair, I would also wash a dildo if I had one. That would get pretty nasty if you let it get gunked up.
I'm sure that actually is like, you know, common care and practice for a dildo for sure. And yeah, I feel like a dildo is a little bit different than a fucking fleshlight. I don't know. Maybe I'm a Puritan. Chat's saying that I'm a Puritan. That's fine. I'm a Midwestern guy. I'm from flyover country. I'm not that exciting. I don't want to fuck plastic.
I mean, me neither, which is why I don't own a fleshlight. But I mean, I guess I do feel bad for, I mean, some people, like if they're never going to have the opportunity to experience the real thing, I guess I can understand where that would come in, you know. And it's kind of just sad at that point.
No, for sure. Yeah. And again, it's like you do have to like put out there. It's like, you know, oh hey, you know, I was, you know, never really like struggled to get you know, so I get it. If you're down bad and you're like, you've never gotten fucking laid, you're like, I'm 30, I've never even kissed a girl, like, sure, fucking knock yourself out, have a ball. But I think you should maybe also consider like therapy and like how to have a fulfilling relationship with the person outside of that too, right? I just worry that because of all of the isolation that people are going through, that it becomes like a you know, something that you're doing in lieu of and not in addition to.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. I mean, that is already even if you're just using your fucking hand, that you can already fall into that. Like there are people that literally get addicted to masturbation even before the era of all these, you know, sex toys and all this kind of stuff like that. But yeah, no, I do agree with you. And I was obviously just joking.
No, yeah, I hear you. It's a funny thing, right? Because it's like you don't want to come off like a moralizer and a projector and like somebody who's like, oh wow, you're just like, I'm not saying that. I just think that there is something to like, you know, not letting society erode that intense human connection away from us, right? Like, let's not move towards like an artificial world even more. Because we, you know, I don't know. I'm not trying to sound like the dude in fucking Animal House who gets his guitar stolen because he sounds like a fucking, you know, philosophizing prick. But I do worry about that in my heart of hearts. Like, hey, we do like human connection is the one thing we really need to make sure that we do.
Fuck a real vagina or asshole or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Or your own hand, damn it. Just to fucking feel something real, something that's made up of human cells. Okay, that bleeds when it's cut. Okay.
That's what they need. They need fleshlights that bleed.
Yeah, fucking Ted Bundy.